grouped the children who were at risk of not doing well in the first grade and taught them at a slower pace the same material the other children had to cover, except we don't teach them social studies or science, except incidentally. So we're allowed to spend the whole day teaching math and reading. I think the program's worked, and I think everybody believes the program's worked. However, I think they're making some changes now, so I don't expect to have these. The title of the program is a focused instructional program. We focus on instruction in reading and math. Our curriculum is exactly the same as everybody's curriculum in the first grade. Whatever another first grader has to cover, we have to cover, because it's not a special education program at all. They're identified through their achievement test scores as in a lower percentile they might have a problem. From the beginning of the school year until the end of the school year, we use music and motions to teach the children the sounds and how to make the sounds and how the sounds go together. Especially, I think especially important in the program we're using now is that it's taught in order. In years past, they decided that we should teach a G and then teach a B or teach an S or whatever that they thought the children would make in the same way with their different speech patterns. How if the B and the P were made the same way, then we'd teach the B and the P in that order. But I don't think that it all made sense to the kids. They don't care what part of their mouth they're making. They just want it to all make sense. And in teaching the alphabet the way we're teaching it now, we start at the A and go to the Z, and that's the way they see it all day long. That's the way it's presented to them all day long. So they enjoy that, and it's just a different ABC song. Every letter that I teach the children to read and to say, I teach them to write. And as we write words. We don't just write a letter, we write a word, we read the word, we say the word, we sing the word, we do everything except sleep with the word. Every aspect of this program is covered in song one way or another. The first little song teaches them the letters and the sounds in sequence, and then we teach them blends, the sounds, two sounds together. They're taught how to take a beginning consonant and put it with a short vowel sound, like a B and an E. Instead of teaching them all the at words, we teach them to take the B and the A and put it together with a ba, and then put an end on it. So no matter what we do, we're always going the same way. We're not ever starting at the back end of the word and going that way, which is another I think, a very positive part of this program. We don't ever look at the tail end first. From the first time I walked into a first grade classroom, I felt like we had to have a phonetic approach. I was not taught phonics. I had to teach myself phonics to teach them. But I felt like it was something that had to be taught that way. It just didn't make sense to me the other way. And I didn't have trouble, but I'd seen my own children had problems. And I thought that there had to be a phonetic approach, and I'd struggled to find my own way to teach this. But this does what I wanted to do all along, and it's the lady that created the program we're using now put it all to music, which was something that I had never thought to do. So with the songs and the sequence that she's created, we're able to teach the things that I'd wanted to teach all along. And I reached most everybody, but I just didn't reach those little folks that struggle. And that's what's wonderful about this program, is that even if you're that little fella that doesn't quite get it, you will get it with this. And everybody can do it. So it's just a better, more organized way to attack the things that I felt like needed to be attacked. I do not remember how they taught us to teach reading. I had substituted for probably 10 or 11 years before I walked into a classroom. So I'd formulated my own opinions about how things should be done before I ever was turned loose to do it. I mean, I'd seen a lot of people doing a lot of things wrong and a lot of people doing a lot of things right. And over the years, I just kept a notebook of the things that I liked and put it all together so I could teach it the way I wanted to teach it.
I think it is a new approach that's been around a long time, but we've had a new focus on it. And I think young teachers can take it and go with it. Old teachers can take it and adapt to it. It's a program that you can use your own personality, you can use your own effects with it, you can make it what you want it, you can do it just as it's set up, or you can add to it. You must follow it, however, and do it methodically. And if you do, there's success in it. But I like it because I can show off. And by that I mean I like to perform. And kids like to perform. And I feel comfortable with that. And so we perform together. And we enjoy it. And they enjoy it. And I think anytime a kid is having a good time, he's learning. He doesn't realize it, but he is. And so that's why I like this particular program, because it affords you an opportunity to use your specialties and also teach the kids what they really need to know in reading. The basal system, they're called the basal readers, which is primarily you memorize your vocabulary and you learn to spell those words and you learn to read those words, but you don't really know what makes up that word. You just memorize that word. It's like sight, you know. And that's probably the way I was taught. You were taught years ago. Maybe some of us were lucky enough to have a phonetic approach to reading, but I wasn't. And I guess I learned to read by my mom, who was a teacher teaching me. But I really and truly, until I started with this phonics program, I didn't really know some of these sounds that I'm teaching the kids today. I really didn't know how to make them correctly. And I was probably saying them correctly, but I really didn't know exactly what what really made up the word. Before you can build a bridge, you have to have a foundation. Before you can read, you have to have a foundation. And these sounds that you're taught in isolation are put together if this program is done correctly. And you build a bridge with these sounds that make a word. And to me, it's not in isolation. It may be at one point in time in the program isolation, but if you follow the sequence of the program, there's no sound actually in isolation. It's just at one point in time in that program that you might have that. So to me, it gives the child an opportunity to know where that word came from, how it started, and finish it. And he can say it and he can spell it when he gets through with this program. This approach that we're using now is by far better. The kids can take books from the bookshelf. The parents are real excited about it. They'll say, they're reading the street signs. Gosh, my kid knows the street. They can direct me to the mall. Or, Mom, you turn the wrong way. They know that they can read the street signs. And I think, when you get parents excited about something, and when they see instant results, so to speak, you know, they're behind you. Most of the time, your first grade parents are pretty much on your side, and they want to help the kid. They want to give him a good start. And if he gets that start, you know, and later on they kind of push him aside and put the TV there in front of him or whatever, but for the most part, the parents see this instant results and this independence in reading, and the kid wants to go to the library, and the kid brings the library book home and he can read it. And now we're not talking about the first 6 weeks or the first 2 months of school, but pretty quickly they don't want to draw a picture when they have free time. They want to read a book. They don't want to play with blocks. They'd rather get a book.